This is the Life Shelter instructional video for models 4042, 3236, and 2428 of the Life Shelter Refuge Chamber. Looking at the side of the shelter, take note of the different sections. The red area seen here is where the tent is stored. The blue area is where your supplies like CO2 scrubbing curtains, food, and water are stored. And the yellow and green sections are where your air and oxygen bottles are stored. There are different numbers of bottles depending on the size, the shelter, and the number of men the shelter can sustain. Now looking down from the top of the unit, this is the tent area, this is the supply area, and this is the bottle area where air and oxygen bottles are located. This section of the video is to familiarize people with locations. Now, this is how to activate the unit. Go to the deployment door to unpack the tent. Before opening the door to remove the tent, look around to see if the red zone is clear from debris like sharp rocks, metal, or anything else that could possibly harm the tent or prevent the tent from extending all the way. There is a decal located on the outside of the door as a reminder. Pre-shift examinations should be conducted to ensure all doors of the shelter open, the air and oxygen bottles have adequate pressure, and the roof and ribs around the shelter are in good condition, but more about that later. After opening the deployment doors, look for the 3 yellow boxes containing monitors. One, a monitor without a pump, another with a pump, and the other should contain batteries. Remove these and either place them above the entrance door if you have a 4042 or 3236 model, or take them to the end of the tent along with the supply box and first aid kit if you have a 2428 model. Next, remove the tent inside, and after unrolling 1 or 2 rolls, look for the handles attached to straps. Pull on the straps while walking away from the shelter and the tent will unroll. After the tent is unrolled, head to the opposite end of the shelter to the bottle doors. The doors should be labeled number 1, number 2, and even number 3 on some shelters. Open the bottle door labeled number 1. Remove the strobe light, turn it on, and place it on the top of the shelter. This will indicate occupancy. Next, locate the black valves behind bottle doors and proceed to turn on all black line valves. After the black line valves are on, turn on the bottle valves on the yellow air bottles to inflate the unit's tent. There will be lead seals attached to tamper-proof seals that need to be broken as each bottle is turned to its on position. This will indicate every bottle is on. There are also instructions placed on the inside of the bottle doors as a reminder to guide you through this process. After all the yellow air bottle seals have been broken and the valves are in the on position, proceed to break each tamper-proof seal and turn on all of the green oxygen bottles. Remember, yellow first, then green, but make sure to turn all of them on. When finished activating all bottles, close the bottle compartment doors and move to the airlock entrance area to enter the tent. On 4042 and 3236 models, the entrance door is where the airlock is located, but on the 2428, the airlock will be located at the opposite end of the tent. Just be sure to know your unit and the proper way to operate. Entering the tent. To enter the tent, turn on the iBrid MX6 monitor while entering the airlock. Keep in mind to close the box after removing the monitor. These batteries will be vital to your stay inside the shelter. Open the entrance door on the 40 or 32-inch unit or arched zipper on the 24-inch unit and file in 4 people in the airlock at a time. Remember, the airlock can hold 4 persons at a time, so file in while turning on the iBrid MX6. Be sure the last person who enters the airlock closes the entrance door or arched zipper depending on model. Once inside the airlock, turn on the purge valve and the air amplifier valves to on. Then press the button on the timer light. This will be located on the back of the entrance door on the 40 and 32-inch units, but on the inside of the supply box on the 24-inch units. On the timer, one bulb will light yellow until the allotted time passes, and then multiple bulbs will light up green. This indicates the airlock is purged and the air should be clear to open the arched zipper and enter into the tent. Miners can enter the tent once the valves are turned back to the off position. Every time a group enters, it is critical to close the airlock before each group enters into the tent area to keep the contaminated air out. Keep repeating this process until all occupants are inside the shelter, and the ibrid indicates the air is clean. Once everyone is inside the shelter, go to the control station located in the middle of the shelter where the tent and the steel box connect together. Turn the tube fill valve to off and turn the oxygen valve to on. On the bottom right-hand corner of the control station, dial in the number of man gauge to regulate the oxygen flow to the number of miners inside the shelter. This regulator will also be used to adjust the oxygen levels during and throughout the stay. Oxygen levels must be maintained between 19.5 and 22%. Use the ibrid monitor and the number of man gauge to do that. Also notice there's an extra number of man gauge. If something goes wrong with the one that is set, the other is there for backup. Next, go into the steel box to unpack supplies. Remove the curtain stands and boxes containing CO2 scrubbing curtains. There will be one box per person that the shelter is rated for. Each box should contain 4 curtains sealed in foil packaging and operating instructions. Send the boxes down the tent and spread them throughout the tent area. Open the stands and place them on the decal in the floor of the tent that states, "Place scrubbing curtains here." Open the blue boxes and then tear open the foil pouches containing curtains. Notice the hooks on the curtains and the holes on top of the stands. You place the hooks inside the holes. Be sure to fill all the holes in the stand with hooks until all curtains are used. Do not skip holes in the stand until you completely run out of curtains, and be sure to hang all CO2 scrubbing curtains. There are also instructions located inside the CO2 scrubber curtain package to guide through this process. Once a day or as requested by Mine Rescue, check the gases outside using the ibrid MX6 with pump. There are connectors located on the tent wall that port to the outside and provide an inlet and outlet to take air readings of the mine atmosphere from inside the tent. There is an inlet and outlet that have valves. After use of the monitor, be sure to turn the valves to the off position to ensure any contaminated air does not enter the tent. Also remember to turn off the ibrid MX6 with pump to preserve battery life. The supply box that was carried in at deployment will contain 2 Bibles, 1 deck of playing cards, 1 notepad, 1 pack of ink pens, 4 MSHA-approved flashlights, 16 size D batteries, 1 hole repair kit, 3 sizes, 1 roll of aluminum duct tape, 1 list of shelter contents, 1 instruction manual.